G'day everyone, how are you going today? This is Hayden, VK7HH for Ham Radio DX. Today we're going to be talking about overcoming your fears in amateur radio, some ham radio basics for you there today. So thank you very much for joining me. I could see a few of you in the chat, and we'll introduce, of course, our regular guests on the show too very shortly. I just wanted to get a couple of housekeeping things out of the way. The first thing is for those who are interested and would like to purchase Ham Radio DX merchandise, such as this, if I can do a bit of a demo, such as this awesome hoodie or some shirts, then you can go to hamradiodx.net/merch. You can, all the details are on there for picking up shirts. We've got hoodies. We also have coming soon mugs and maybe some other things coming up very shortly. So yeah, check out hamradiodx.net/merch. Also want to do a shout out to my Ultimate DXs. We do have a new one today. I'd like to say hello to Christia Svensson. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, Ultimate DX member. And I need to do a shout out for some new members too. I'd like to thank James Pierce for upgrading to the Ultimate DX level. I also have Joel Clipperton. I don't think I've also given you a shout out. Thank you very much for joining as an Ultimate DXer. And also to this man, temporarily offline ham radios, Steve KM9G, also an Ultimate DXer. So thank you very much for your support.
Ultimate DXer.
The Ultimate DXer. That's the level that you want to be at. How are you, Tio?
I am doing fantastic. It is early in the morning over here, and the weather report, 68 degrees and sunny, unlike field day weekend, which is going to be rainy and nasty.
So what's the time over there at the moment? 8
The time is 8 a.m., 8:04 a.m. Central Time.
It is currently 11 p.m. here at the moment. Now, I'm trying a little bit of a different format here on the show. I'm trying to see if I can stream a little bit more regularly for you guys. So I want to see if this is a good time for you. So please let me know in the chat or in the comments if this is a good time, because I want to make sure that I do this a little bit more regularly, and we can have some fun. Field Day. Field Day's coming up. We also have Field Day. We've got Winter Field Day coming up tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing. It's going to be very, very cold. It's supposed to snow actually. So our field day is VHF and UHF only. So we have to go up on top of mountain tops to get out of where we are here, because we're not in a very good spot here for VHF and UHF because of valleys and mountains and things. So we need to go up to the top of mountains. And it's going to be snowing. So I think the temperature, the high is 3 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. So it's going to be cold.
It's one of the things I have absolutely no relevance for. Like, we talk about Fahrenheit and Celsius, and I know the mathematical conversion, but I don't think about Fahrenheit in terms of like the actual number. I think about it in terms of feeling. So when you say 70 degrees Fahrenheit, I know what that feels like. And when you say 72, it's the same. When you say 3 Celsius, it's like cold.
Okay,
it's gotta be cold.
So 37 Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
cold.
But I don't think about
freezing.
it in terms of numbers, and it's a really weird conversion too. It's like 5/9 32 or something, like I don't know, minus 32 and 5/9. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what the internet's for.
Yeah, I give up. Thank you to the No Code Tech for saying that this time works for me. Very good. Thank you very much. Hello to Rolly. It is 1 a.m. in New Zealand at the moment. That's ridiculous, Rolly. What are you doing up at this time? You should be snoozing.
The older you get, the later you go to bed and the earlier you wake up. Ben also says this is a good time for him. Yeah.
Ben, hello Ben, W6EBD, 6 a.m. here, but love the time. Thank you very much. That's good. I was a little bit concerned that it might be a little bit too early for some of my West Coast viewers in the United States.
What time is it for you, Hayden?
11 p.m.
Oh, that's late for you too.
Well, see, it's a Friday evening here, so tomorrow's Saturday, so you kind of get a bit of a sleep in on a Saturday, but that's why it works out to be a good time. Although Rolly says that he's working 40-meter DX, so that sort of makes sense now. So, today, now we do have a bit of a format, and we've popped it into the description. There are a couple of extra bits that we've added into this. What we're going to be doing is talking about fears in amateur radio. Now, I think this this affects one person or another whenever they get into the hobby. So we're going to go through a couple of subjects, how we can deal with them, some advice, some tips on how to avoid this, and see how we go from there. So the first subject that we had, which I've actually just added in, and I didn't let you know, Tio, was going for your exam. Now, that can be quite anxious because
It sure can.
obviously, you're going for, you really want to pass. So for those who fear going for that exam or haven't quite stepped over and just booked in a test or booked in an exam, what kind of tips do you reckon we can give our viewers for that?
So I don't know how they do it in VK land, but in the US, you can do this. You can go to hamstudy.org, and the questions and answers are published, and it's not published what the right answer is, but you can figure that out. And you just drill over and over again to get you past that test fright. Number one. So when you start, like, you need 75% to pass. When you start to get to 85%, you've got a nice buffer. Just take it until you feel that way. That's number one. Number two, in the US, if you don't pass your test on the first try, you can take it again if your VE is smart enough to know that without paying an additional fee, and they'll actually give you a different bank of questions from the pool. So it's not like you're getting a preview of the test and then you can go back and take the exact same test again. You can do that twice in the same sitting. So you can take the test, fail it, and then take it right away one more time. That's your second time. And then lastly, for $15, consider it a warm up. What have you? That's the test cost, $15. What have you lost other than some time at a local ham fest, or maybe you're doing it online through an online VE that we have now, and maybe I'm there to help move you along, motivate you, because I do some VE sessions as well. So that gets you some confidence ahead of time. And again, it's $15. What have you lost?
Just before we do continue, I just want to say hello to Leo, who says it's 35 degrees Celsius in Croatia. That is one good thing about running at this time is I can understand that you guys, it's a good time for you. So thank you very much. And also DJ 5 Sierra Echo Gen X Radio. Hey, all. So here in VK, at least, as you know, that's one good thing that you've got in the US is $15 for your test is very, very good. This is, of course, before the FCC fee that comes in. When's that coming in? A couple of months, isn't it?
I don't actually know the date. They haven't made a new test yet, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I thought it was toward the end of summer, so August time maybe. I think that's what I read. But I guess in places like here in VK where the test is can be quite expensive, then that does add to the fear because you want to be able to pass. You don't want to sort of waste your money, and then you do. If you do fail the test, then you can become discouraged, and you might not want to take it again. So, doing as you say, going to hamstudy.org, just sort of cramming the questions, I think, and just going over them, just memorizing them. Especially if you can get hold of the question banks that are used here in VK. We've got a foundation license manual. We're talking about entry level into amateur radio. So the foundation license, there's a manual which deals with the questions that you will basically find in the exam and will explain them to you. So getting that and going through that, reading it from cover to cover, maybe a couple of times if you really want to make sure, is a good thing. And just book the date. And just give it a go.
Yeah. We could do an entire stream on just how to pass the test and not go over a single question on the test itself. There's a lot of tips and tricks on passing the test. One of the ones over here, and I don't know if it's the same for you, there's some math questions on the test, and there's some schematic symbol questions on the test. You can actually take one complete section of your choice and only one section of your choice and just 100% skip it and still pass. So if you have trouble with the schematics, the symbols, you think you're not going to get into that, skip them 100%. Next. Put down any answer, because the wrong answer that you put down is the exact same points missed as not putting an answer on at all. So you have a 25% chance of actually accidentally picking the right answer, but like take the pressure off of your shoulders to get the right answer by skipping that section mentally in your head. And then you can still wind up, if you get all the other questions correct, you can still wind up pretty close to that 75% in passing.
Yeah. Well, Shooter 59 says studying for my tech now. So good luck. Hope that you pass your test with flying colours. I'm sure that you will. And let us know what sort of things are if you're struggling with anything in your tech study, let us know. That'd be interesting. And Ben also says that the online study questions was a great way to get a good feel for your ability to pass. Gives you confidence. 100%. Yep. So because over there, of course, if you pass your tech exam, then you get a free crack at the general. So if you're getting sort of 80 or 80, 90%, whatever on the tech exam, then you may as well then try some of the questions for the general and see if you can get your
at least get a sneak peek. Sure.
Yeah. Yep. Dan also says M0IDW 27 pounds 50 here in the UK for foundation license and currently free online training available. That's good. I do plan on my channel to do some online training for the foundation license as well. So hopefully that will help some people to get into to amateur radio. So so going for your exam, I think we sort of covered that. So now you've passed your exam, you've got your license in the mail or the email or however you get it. I got mine in my email, so I'm not sure if is that no. for everyone now, or
you get it in your email. You have to print it yourself.
Yeah, okay.
The official copy comes off of my printer.
Yeah, yeah. So now you've got that. I think the number one thing, especially for me, it was mic fright. So I guess to explain mic fright is you get scared. You don't know what to say. You don't know how you should be doing it. Okay, obviously it's all part of the test, and this is the way that you should announce your call sign. This is and you know the theory, but putting it
it's part of your test.
Is it? It's not
part of our test. No.
Oh, okay. So but you've got a mix of regulations though, but that's not covered.
No, because technically there's only customary. There's not absolute requirement by law in the U.S. on what you need to do. What they say in terms of legality is you need to identify your station every 10 minutes. But yes. I don't need to call CQ. I can get on the mic and say, "Hey," and it's fine. I mean, it's not customary. I mean, I can get on a repeater and I can call CQ. It's fine. It's not customary, but there isn't any actual hard and fast rule on the test over here. It's just, like I said, it's just the customs.
Okay, so I'm not entirely sure if ours is a hard and fast rule. I know that we have operational procedures or it's like this is the way that operationally it works. So this is how you call a station. This is how you respond to a station. And in our exam, we've even got a practical component. So
I love that part.
Yeah, so part of the practical component is that you will sit down in front of a radio. You'll be asked to operate it, change frequency, call up. We usually use an IRLP node, dial an IRLP node, and I think we use the club call sign. So my local club is you'd pick up the microphone. This is VK7 OTC using IRLP. You dial the node, call CQ, disconnect, whatever. So I guess you sort of get that initial. You sort of get that initial feel of what it should be like to make a contact, but I didn't realize that your questions that you don't deal with that in your questions. So that's quite surprising.
Nope.
So mic fright. So how to get over it? Did you get it when you first got licensed?
So I don't know, because I'm not really that kind of person. I'd like. You give me something to do and I will go do it. If you tell me like I should do something and I have no desire, I don't care. But if like I wanted to be on the air, like I wanted to do the whole radio thing. So the minute I got my My tech test passed. I keyed up my radio and went for it. I knew that there was going to be some hassles. I knew there was going to be some learning curve. I knew there was going to be some problems, but it's amateur radio. It's not, I mean, I'm not like, doing brain surgery or anything. The worst that can happen is I called wrong, and hopefully somebody's not rude and comes back and says, "You called CQ on a repeater. Get out of here, son." Like hopefully it's like CQ repeater. And they're like, "Yeah, you don't do that. But here's what you do instead. You just say," and what's really even worse is when you follow the rules of what they tell you to say. Like you say KM9G listening on the repeater. Like they're like, "Yeah, I know you're listening. Don't care."
Yeah.
Like if you say KM9G doing a mic test, they'll go, "Yeah, your microphone sounds good." If you say KM9G monitoring, if you say KM9G clear, like they don't care. If you say something wrong, they'll jump on you. If you talk for a long time, they'll jump on you. This is a repeater and it needs to be kept clear for emergency use. So clear off. Okay. Guess who doesn't talk on the repeater anymore? Like I solved that problem.
Quiet for 99% of the time, but.
Yep.
Yeah. We got a couple of comments. The NoCo tech says, if you want to get over Mike Fright, watch Australia 100%.
Wonder where she learned that from.
And Wild Cascader Radio Anime says, if I had an Elmer, it would probably be better than Mike Fright. I mean, we're going to talk about Elmers a bit later on, so we will go into that.
So I don't mean to say I don't mean to downplay Mike Fright when I say what I say. What I'm trying to get at is it's just not that important. And like Anime says, watch Astrolia, and she'll say, which state is better, Illinois or Wisconsin? Just as like the idea
of easy.
Of course, being Wisconsin natives, both of us, the idea of calling CQ on HF is to put a volume of noise on the band, so when somebody's spinning the dial by, they can actually hear that you're there, as opposed to just like if you said CQKM9G, that's a full spin and they got the G and moved on, and when they tune back, you're not there calling CQ anymore. So you want to say something relatively long-winded. I mean, it sounds annoying when you're trying to actually make the contact on the other side, but there is actually a purpose for it. So
as Dan says, it's just a conversation. I suppose with how did we get over it? So for myself, I did have Mike Fright when I started on amateur radio back in 2004. I was only a 13-year-old kid at the time, though, so it was probably a little bit different. I didn't have a lot of confidence. And I remember setting up I remember a couple of amateurs coming around to my house. So some Elmers came around and they set up an 80-meter dipole for me and said, "Right, you're good to go." And
now what?
Well, they were like, "Let's test the antenna." So they get on the phone. It was in the middle of the day, so there weren't many stations on. So he got on the phone to someone and said, "Hey, are you around for a test?" "Yeah, cool. Okay, what frequency?" "Okay, see you there." And he just looks at me and he says, "Okay, so we've got," I can't remember what his call sign was at the time, but he said, "Such and such is going to be on this frequency. Give him a call."
You never forget your first, eh?
What? What are you talking about? So I picked it up and I heard him calling and I just replied, and all I was thinking of was, "Oh, I can't remember the regulations. I can't remember the way it was supposed to." And he could see that, and he just said to me, "Look," he says, "no one's listening. It's fine. No one else cares. Just call his call sign, say yours, give him a signal report, done." So that was good. It was good to have someone else there who was able to sort of school you through that as well. So, but I understand what you were saying too, is we're not talking about, we're not saying that Mike Fright is something that you shouldn't be worried about. It's just something that can be managed, and you'll get over it eventually. Once you have your first couple of contacts, then you'll be okay. So,
yeah, try doing a YouTube live stream while calling CQ on an HF band to, like, just increase the level of pressure a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, another good way of doing it too is if there is an amateur that you trust. So maybe there's someone that, if you have already joined a club or somebody, tee up a QSO with them in advance. And then that way you can practice on the air if you really want to. No one's going to worry about that. They're not going to they're not going to come over the top and say, "Oh, you're not doing this properly," or have a go at you. And even if they do, who cares? But you should be able to have have a QSO with a friend and just practice on air, and eventually you'll be able to talk to anybody.
Contests are a good way to get over that also, because the exchange is known and the signal report is fake. And if you don't get 100%, so like if you're the station calling Hayden and I'm the station listening, trying to respond to your call, I can just put out KM9G 59 Wisconsin, whatever the contest exchange is. And the contest exchange, you just look it up. That's how you know what it is. And then you just come back and you say, KM9G, copy 59, you are 59 also. Thanks for the contact, QRZ. And I didn't catch your call sign at all. You're not going anywhere because your job is to hold that frequency and make more contacts. So I just need to wait until I hear KD9 SSB come back. And then just now I can put it in my log. So like, you're not going to miss anything. And if it's not a contest and I don't hear your call sign properly, I can say SSB station again, or the 9 call, please, or you can ask for help. I mean, and one of the classic things that OMs get afraid of, not afraid of, they get cranky about is like, what was your call sign? What was your call sign? Repeat the call sign. Please repeat the call sign. I've got KD9. What's the rest of it? All right, KD9 SSB, you are 59. It's like, yeah, I couldn't understand your crazy Australian accent, but I could hear you clearly enough to know that you were talking. Call signs are not easy. It's not a word, no. I mean, yours is pretty good, KD9 SSB. I mean, that's fairly easy to get. But like, so what? It's fine.
Yeah. And this is the other thing too, is if you struggle to hear someone on the air or vice versa, if they're struggling to hear you, they don't mind if you keep calling your call sign over and over and over again, because they'll be happy to get you in the log. And even if they don't and they move on, and I've had that times before where I've been calling someone and I can hear them plain as day, and they'll be calling me and they'll be saying, station ending in I think it's hotel, I can't call, and you'll call and call and call, and eventually I'll say, sorry, but I can't copy you. Thank you, 73. Yep. And that's fine. That's not a problem.
Oops. What's that? Sorry, the band's going away. Sorry, you can't hear you.
Dan says, I got over my mic fright by going to a... See, this is the thing. I don't know. I could never understand Dan having mic fright. Going to a park and called CQ Poda, the absolute rush that came back, got the adrenaline flowing, and I forgot for a moment that I was scared. So, very, very good. You got me doing a New Zealand accent then, Dan. Scared. Bit scared. I'm scared. Bo says, my CQ for Poda are about 10 seconds long. I wait 3 to 5 seconds to do it again. Very good way to call CQ. Excellent. And we're station starting VK, go again. I noticed that there was a little bit of talk in the chat about calling your singing your CQs, and the no-code text got CQ to the BGs. Calling CQ. Very good.
That was awesome. That was spot on.
No, well, I mean, it's 11 o'clock at night. I can't find my falsetto, so.
Can you find it at 9 a.m.?
No, I can't find it at all. Forgot to mention at the start of the stream too, we do have sound effects and we will dance. So just letting you know. Just letting you know for the super chatters out there. Rolly says, say scared 6 times. Scared. What have we got? So what are the other fears? I guess I think what we've already covered, just operational, making sure that everything's correct. One thing that I did have, which I was scared about, is making sure that my SWR doesn't go high while transmitting. I was worried about it blowing up my radio. This is back when the first radio I had didn't have an SWR. Well, we've got a... Here we go. Thank you, Anime.
This is what we do. We dance now.
We should sing. I need to get a...
Where's your musical instrument?
No, I need to get a Bee Gees soundtrack now. It needs to be a soundboard that goes, ha, 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 calling CQ.
And notice I didn't talk over that, so you can clip it. That's going to be a YouTube short here in a minute.
Dan, fear of some old man coming back and playing band police. Yes. Okay. So we are going to go into that very shortly. Um, Going back to the SWR, now that a lot of the radios have SWR meters in them now, it's probably not so much of an issue. So that was a fear I had anyway.
Protection circuitry. So they always talked about burning your finals out. You're going to burn your finals out, son. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like finals. That's a new word to me. It's a bunch of electronic components that are, like what, 12 cents a piece, 13 cents a piece, and some soldering skills.
And the modern day radios have built-in protection anyway. So unless you're transmitting full power and into a 10-to-1 SWR and your radio overheats, then I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. So there's nothing in this world that is not fixable. I think that's the first thought you need to have in your head. If you go out and you buy a $1,000 radio and you burn out the finals and it costs you $1,000 to repair it, you buy another $1,000 radio and don't do that thing. If you buy a used radio for $600 and you burn out the finals and it costs you $30 to repair, you now have a $630 radio. If you get a used radio from a friend for free and you burn out the finals, crack that case open, get out your soldering iron and get after it. And you haven't lost anything at all. And you may have gained a valuable skill. Like, look at it from more of an abundance mentality instead of a scarcity mentality, and enjoy like where you're going in the hobby. Like all the Commodore 64 stuff that I do, I actually bought Commodore 64s that were broken with the intent of learning how to repair them. So I had nowhere to go but up. And the worst case scenario is I could take those broken Commodore 64s that I bought and sell them as broken Commodore 64s. Like ultimately near zero loss.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just everything's cheaper a lot more these days. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a pen. I'm actually wanting to. I'm trying to leave a mental note, but it's not going to work. I just need to write down new sound effect BG's calling CQ.
Yeah, and Rolly's right. Burning out the finals does refer to the older tube type radios, but you can still do that on the newer ones. But again, you just replace the tubes. I realize that they're expensive, but you got into the hobby because you wanted to be in the hobby, not because you wanted to not get on the air.
Yeah. And here's a perfect example of what Dan was saying before about OMs, some OMs. Called once on lower sideband 6 meters, had an OM start to chew me out. Spin the big dial, we all make mistakes. Exactly. Don't worry about them. Life's too short to be worried about those sort of people. Okay, next one was I don't know what to talk about. This one I think come up in our last stream that we did about not knowing what to, if someone continues on several different subjects. So basically just talk about whatever you want to talk about. The weather is a big one.
Yes.
Everyone talks about the weather.
The Ford method. Friends, occupation, recreation, and I forget what the D stands for. But those are the go-to the go-to safe topics. Yeah, so there was this time when I got caught in a multi-op conversation on a repeater. And so it goes into this round robin mode where it's station A, station B, station C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. And I was station B. And when it came back around the fourth time, I had absolutely nothing to add to the conversation. And I had no clue what to say. And after a long dramatic silence, station C came in. The person after me was like, nothing to say? I'm like, no, nothing to say. He's like, okay, well, next time just say, next, or, give it to the next guy, say my call sign and I'll take over. Cause it's perfectly natural in a 3-person conversation to not have something to say at any given moment, but put that radio in your hand and you don't know the customs. And really that's what it comes down to is what are the customs? So,
and if you're talking to others, I mean, you got to remember that everyone that you're talking to on the air all has a similar interest. They're all interested in amateur radio. That's it's all the same hobby. So if you can't think of anything and you could be like, hey, I'm building this antenna, or hey, I'm new into the hobby and I don't know about XYZ, or I'm currently doing this, or I bought a new handheld the other day. Whatever the case is, you can always find something in common with someone else that they've either done or that they're currently doing at the moment. I know that one of the videos that I did the other day was SSTV using a SDR dongle, and I had heaps of people going, "Oh, I haven't tried that yet. Oh, I should try that." So if that was you and you're not quite sure what to say on there, hey, I tried SSTV the other day. So, you don't, I guess the point is you don't have to stick to what the current topic is, especially in repeater round robin type situations. Everyone just sort of talks about whatever they're doing, and some people comment about it and then others just talk about themselves again. So it's not important. I don't know if it's the same over there, but that's what happens here anyway. So yeah, if you don't know what to talk about, make something up, I guess. Is that what we want to summarize there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
You can always talk about your medical ailments. Exactly.
Yeah.
My gout is flaring up again.
Talk about your station, antenna location, concrete things, exactly. I've had people start telling me about K6ARK. It's always good to talk about Adam.
Yeah, that's it. When in doubt, talk about Adam.
Dan says politics and religion. Probably not good advice. Are those two things something that you cannot talk about on the radio in the United States, the same as here?
Yes, there actually is some rules about what you're not allowed to talk about, but it's I try to remember the words, but it's like comments of a friendly nature or something is what they say. And people talk about politics and religion anyway. There's one guy on 20 meters who like just camps out on one frequency, and you call him and he gives you this rant that he's been given for the last 100 years about how horrible something was in his childhood. And he's got if you look up his call sign, somebody's actually made a web page and dedicated, like, just spin the dial, because he's not going to shut up, and you're never going to finish the conversation. And this is all he's going to tell you anyway. It's actually kind of funny. I don't remember the guy's call sign anymore, but it's like, okay, this guy's got himself a reputation.
Yeah, and I guess too that, yeah, it's we're the same here. Like the only thing that we can't, I mean, that's written in the regulations as well. But the only other thing that we can't talk about is we can't sell stuff over the radio. You can't have commercial. I find it quite hilarious. I don't know if it's the same over there, but sometimes we'll have amateurs, because of the rule that says that you cannot talk about commercial things and monetize the conversations that you have on the radio. They refer to equipment pricing as, oh, that cost me 200 dB. Mm-hmm. It's like, just say $200. It's fine. You're not selling anything. You're not doing it commercially. It's quite funny.
Yeah, so you can't call and ask for, like, hey, Hayden, can you get me a pizza? And you're like, yeah, this is Hayden's pizza delivery service. What do you want on it? And I tell you what toppings I want, and then you tell me how much it cost, and then I pay for it, and then you arrive. Like, that's a transaction that occurred over ham radio, and you're not allowed to do that.
However, you could say to me, hey, Hayden, have you had a pizza recently? And I can say, yeah, I had one the other day, and it cost me $10.
Yep, because you're not selling it to me, and I'm not paying for it.
Nope. So that's a quick example anyway. So let's move on to what we were talking about before, about people who like to jump on everyone's mistakes. Gatekeepers, in some regards, they would be called. Now,
we've touched on that a little bit already, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as far as they're concerned, what authority do they have, if any?
None.
That was a quick answer to that question.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be like one-worded, but there is a longer answer to it. Even the FCC in the U.S., if you're doing something wrong, they will not come to you and put you in handcuffs and throw you in jail. You'll get a strongly worded letter in the mail, and I'm not your lawyer, so don't take my word for it. But you'll get a strongly worded letter in the mail. You might get a knock on your door. They're going to ask you to stop first, and then you stop. And then the problem goes away because you were doing something wrong. Like, it's okay to do something wrong. It's not okay to continue to do something wrong after you've been told not to do it.
I guess that's another thing that amateurs have a fear of, is that because it is a licensed, regulated service, that they are worried of doing something wrong. Would that be a fair thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that avoid doing the right thing because they don't know that it's right or wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Amateur radio is a lot more laid back than what I think is when you first get into the hobby that you feel it is. I remember when I first got in, like
It's
I was
very laid
afraid,
back.
if I don't say my call sign right, I'm going to be in trouble with the regulator. But it's not like that. You're really only going to get into trouble if you really start to do things really bad and really wrong.
If I'm constantly jamming the FM station down the street, yes, they're going to
Causing
complain.
interference, malicious, I think, is the word that we're looking for.
Yeah.
So if you're doing things maliciously, that's when you're
So
get into
the
trouble.
example that we give over here, Ham Radio Dude did this, and he put a video out about it. We made a QSO, and it was out of the portion of the band that he was allowed to operate in, and like nobody complained, nobody said a word, nobody cared. You know, like the two of us were like, "Oh, oops, guess we should move up." So we moved up, and then he took it upon himself to call the local ARRL office and confess to what he did, and they're like, "Yeah, just don't do that again." Like it's not the end of the world, but if you're constantly broadcasting on a frequency that you're not privileged to operate on, then you're doing something wrong and it needs to stop, and then they will find a way to stop you. And at the end of the day, all you're going to do is lose your license privileges by doing something wrong. And they don't want you to do that in the first place. They want you to enjoy the hobby, and like, people make mistakes. It's fine. Nobody died. You're okay.
Yeah. Wild Cascade Radio says, I've found that some people might not even know they are doing this, talking about the gatekeepers. And KY4IF says, the OM talk group that I have here are a great group. They help each other all the time, talk about mostly ham-related stuff, and very welcome to new people. That's exactly right. I think it is important in this discussion to say that we're not talking about all OMs are like this, and it's not even necessarily OMs. It can be anyone, really. But I think there is a certainly a place where we have a lot of people that are very welcoming to new people. So that's very good, and it's good to hear that you've got that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, they don't. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the United States,
You're
have
wrong.
amateur. Very good. Oh, very good. Wrong one. You've got amateur repeaters that are private repeaters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? So do private repeaters have gatekeepers of those systems? And what happens if you use a private repeater?
Well, nothing happens if you use a private repeater. Some cranky old fart gets on and tells you that you should not be on their repeater, but it's publicly available airwaves, and it has to be registered as a publicly available device, and it has to accept publicly addressable signaling in both directions. And there you have it. Yeah, it's like, it is like, I have a repeater. It personally exists in a building of mine, and it's connected up to my antenna tower, and it uses my electricity, and it uses my call sign, my club's call sign, that I'm authority in the club, officer, that's the word, officer in the club. But at the end of the day, I can't keep you off of my repeater other than to turn my repeater off. I can ask you to leave. I can be a jerk about it.
Now, that's a good question. If you're using a club repeater and you're not part of the club, does that mean that you can't use a repeater?
No, not at all.
No, exactly.
Yeah, you can use any repeater.
Yeah. So, I mean, in here in Australia anyway, we don't have, there's no such thing as a private repeater. You actually cannot make a private encrypted repeater. Everything needs to be open.
Oh, can't be encrypted, no.
No, and you also need to be, I think the regulations are that you need to, all of the information is available, you can view, but if it's got tone access or anything like that, you need to publish the tone access code so that anyone can access it. It could be deemed as a private repeater.
We have what's called coordinated and uncoordinated repeaters, but it still exists. It's still on the air. You can still get on it, and the best they can do is ask you not to.
Yeah.
but that's because of the type of service that it is. Now, if I had a repeater that was on a private frequency that was outside of the ham bands that I was licensed to operate and you got on it, then there's some laws involved in that. But you're breaking your amateur license to get on someone's repeater outside of amateur radio bands anyway.
Yeah. Yep. So talking about clubs and other events, why should someone not be deterred from finding help and being included?
This is an interesting question.
I think this one come up in the Discord.
Why someone shouldn't be deterred. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I know where this one's coming from. And what I would say is you're not going to resonate with every club that exists. There are some clubs that do exist just to be cranky old farts. There are some clubs that do exist to welcome in new people.
Or individuals.
Yes.
Because you can join a club and have similar interests with people in the club, but not everybody.
Right.
You're not always going to have the same interests as everyone in the club.
But that's true in every single walk of life. You put a video on YouTube and you're going to get people that don't like it. Okay.
Well, that's a fact.
Hold on. Do we have any? We have no dislikes on this video. We have 50 people watching and 23 likes. So we're doing something right so far. But like only 23 people.
Now I'm going to get all the dislikes.
Only 23 people, 24 people. Thank you. 24 people out of the 49. So we got one more like and one less watcher. Only half of the people that are watching
dislikes.
This actually like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the point. I mean,
but you see how we handle the dislikes. Like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Now it's 5. What are you doing to my channel?
I love it. I asked last night in the FT8 off if we could get the like dislike ratio to be 1-to-1. Like if there's 50 likes, can there also be 50 dislikes? And it was hard.
Yeah. Yep. Basically, people shouldn't be deterred from finding help and being included in any walk of life, but especially when it comes to ham radio. So that leads into getting involved in a club. So getting involved in a club is a very good thing. If you're just starting out, then the best place that I would recommend would be your local club, the one that is closest to you. If you can find a club that if you're starting out in amateur radio and you've got a specific goal in mind, so for instance, I want to work satellites. Well, maybe you would look for those who are specifically interested in satellites because they're going to share the same interests and help you with that particular thing. Any other examples, that sort of thing. Maybe a CW if you want to learn CW and you want to join a CW club. But I would definitely, for those who are new, I can see how, because a lot of I don't know about over there, but a lot of hams here are not that social. They're not socially
until they get to be retired.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be hard walking into a club for the first time and nobody really wants to talk to you. So I can understand how difficult that would be. What I would do before joining a club is get to know who is on the committee of the club. So the president, the vice president, the public relations officer, these kind of people, because they're the people who are there as the welcoming party to new hams into clubs. So they should be well equipped in helping you out.
Yep. There are at least 4 ham clubs in my area. I am a member of 2 of them, and one of them I attend, and the 4th one I know it exists, and I've been in the club shack because that's where the second club meets as well, but I've never been to that club itself. So it's like you don't have to go to all of them. You can go to all of them. You can be a member of multiple clubs. Just find one that resonates with you and stick with it or not.
Yeah, exactly. And in clubs, you will find Elmers. Now, to define what an Elmer is, I'll let you do that.
So I looked at the official definition on the... this is why you have me on these streams. I looked at the official definition on ARRL.org, and there never was a person named Elmer. It was a fictitious person like Stan. And it was
I'm hunting hams.
Yeah, Elmer
That
Fudd.
was my best Elmer Fudd impression.
Be very, very quiet.
Be very, very quiet.
So it's a concept. It's a title. It's a role, and it's basically someone who helps you get to the next level in your hobby. And you can be an Elmer pointing down, helping somebody out, or you can be an Elmer. You can be Elmered by someone who is helping you out. You can have more than one Elmer, and you can have Elmers for different subjects.
Yep.
It's just it's a mentor.
We don't tend to use the term Elmer widely here in Australia. I think we just use mentor or that sort of thing. But same thing. But yeah, you can find the best place for that would be to find to find a local club and to find someone who can mentor you. Usually here it will be the person who invigilates your exam. Or
Invigilates.
Invigilates. Is that the right word?
Not in the U.S.
What's your term?
We just call them VEs or proctor would be the next closest thing.
Yeah, see, we don't call them VEs. I'm pretty sure we call them exam invigilators. But
no, I get it. It's just it's funny. Yeah, so
examiners.
Vigil means something different over here, and so to invigilate would mean like a natural offshoot. So like we talk about like a candlelight vigil. It's a memorial to someone or something that has passed or some tragic thing that happened in the news lately. And then to invigilate would be like, in my mind, the act of holding a vigil, like being the person holding the candle.
Yeah.
But I get language barrier. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, we say all sorts of things that are ridiculous and crazy.
Like Vegemite.
Well, see, that's one of the things I want to do on a stream is I want to send you guys an Australian care package and see what your reaction is when you eat it.
That would be awesome.
So we've gone through our topics today. So what we kind of want to do for the last, I know that Steve, you're on a tight schedule, so we want to sort of keep to within the hour. But for the last sort of 10 to 12 minutes, we're just going to go through some of the comments in the chat and just see what you guys think and just answer some of your questions or comments. Just having a look through here. If there's any that stick out to you, Tio, let me know.
The chat's been awesome this morning. Lots of positive help and assistance.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for joining in at this time. It's great that we do have a bit of an audience. I thought it would be too early, but it's great. So Nick says, I find the generational gap between older hams and younger hams like myself difficult to navigate. I won't disagree with you. I find that difficult myself as well. I'm not sure about yourself, Steve.
Yeah, so we have a couple of different ham clubs in the area here, and one of them, I definitely get that feeling that there's a generation gap between the older fellows in the club that have already done all of the things and the younger people in the club who want to do all of those things. They're like, I'm like, let's go to a park and set up a radio. And they're like, I've already done that. I'm going to go out on the boat instead. I'm like, can we bring a radio? And they're like, no. What? Yeah. We're hams. We're in a club together that does ham things. Let's go do ham things as a club. Nah. Okay. Next club. Make your own. Find some new hams. Join Discord.
Yeah. Get involved. I think that's I've unintentionally got a new slogan on my channel now, and it's oh dear, I've forgotten it. That's bad.
I've unintentionally lost a new slogan on my channel now.
I need to look at my channel banner. I think it's give it a go with amateur radio or something like that. So
ooh, that's sexy.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty good, isn't it? When you can remember it. Plasma Store, KY4IF. Everyone makes mistakes. Anyone who gets cranky because someone made a mistake isn't worth the time or effort. They also lose my respect. Yes, they lose my respect too.
See, look at that, Hayden. You handled it like a pro. He spelled my wrong, and you didn't call him out and make fun of him and kick him off of the server and ban him from the channel for life. You just agreed with him because you're smart enough to understand that the letter U and the letter Y are right next to each other on the keyboard. We need more hams like you, Hayden.
I'm not too sure about you, whether you want more Haydens on the air. The no code
Hayden's
check.
on the air. Hoda.
Well, actually, funny. When I first got licensed, I hammered the local 2 meter repeater here. I was like 14, really keen. I was calling, talking to everyone all the time. And I remember one amateur said on the air to me once jokingly, "Oh, we need a Hayden filter on this repeater." And I remember as a bit of a kid thinking, that's, I felt a little bit bad because I was like, am I talking too much on the repeater? And now I can understand that he was just a cranky old man. But there's another amateur, and he watches this channel, and I hear him on the repeater, and he's always on the repeater, and he's always talking to people and giving them a call back, and he always gives me a call whenever I say that I'm on the repeater, and it's absolutely great. And anyone who says you're tying up the repeater, you're using it too much, I always say to them, well, it's better, when's the last time you used a repeater? Oh, I listen all the time. Well, you're part of the problem then. So there's so many repeaters. You can go to any repeater that you want if you want to listen to silence or switch to simplex. And I think if the repeater was being used 24/7, absolutely great. I don't care what content.
Make another one.
Yeah.
Clearly, exactly. There's a need.
No Code Tech says, I found a few folks who didn't take me seriously for the first few months. I don't understand, but that's the way some people are. I hate it how StreamYard, when you're scrolling, goes all the way to the bottom when I'm looking at comments. Yes, Invigilator is in VK. Jason says, interesting topic. I'm moving clubs here in VK3 due to being previous club being old and stale and moving to a new club that is proactive and has meetings and looking forward again. I guess that is unfortunate that you have to do that. But again, you shouldn't have to be around toxic people and a toxic club environment if that's the way you feel. And you can leave. You've got complete control over doing that. And you can go and do whatever you feel like doing. Same too with it's the same too, and you would understand this too with the whole FT8 versus SSB CW. There's a lot of hate for FT8, which
FT hate.
People are FT hate. A lot of people are entitled to that opinion, but they don't have to do it, but they also don't need to complain about it.
Single sideband is killing ham radio. I'll never have a computer in my ham shack. No, they used to say that. When they switched from AM to SSB, people would actually complain. When they switched from not having computers in ham shacks to having computers in ham shacks, people complain.
Is it? I think the idea there... I think that people are afraid of change when they're used to the norm.
Mm-hmm.
So...
It's scary. Yeah. It's easier to hate than it is to embrace.
Yeah. I think ham radio world online generational gap is huge in ham radio. For those of you who missed my
Dominican
video,
Republic is where Santiago's from.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. We have a 95% ham over 40 and just 5% under 40. Yeah, it seems to be common in a lot of places. What else we got here? Scrolling through, talking about Vegemite for some reason. Let's give a bit of a plug for Toad's Discord. Go and check out the Toad's Discord. There's a lot of good support in Toad's Discord. Actually, that's a very good thing. If you're not comfortable with going to a club and seeing people face to face, then jump in the Toad's Discord because there's plenty of help in there.
Yep, and that's not my Discord. That's our Discord. Hayden's a moderator over there and frequently posts content and answers questions. So, reach out to Hayden over there. Reach out to me over there. There's a bunch of other creators that frequent that Discord. That's the purpose of that Discord, is to help the people reach the creators and mentor each other and Elmer each other and all that other kind of jazz.
And we now have a American channel, a Canadian channel, a UK channel, an Australian channel, and a New Zealand channel. Feel free, if you would like your country to have its own channel, then let us know and we can add another one. That said, everyone is welcome in each other's channels, and we give a bit of a light-hearted ribbing in each one, don't we? So it's always good fun. Matthew says, never can we talk too much. That is 100% when it comes to ham radio operators anyway. Rolly says SSB was the death of ham radio when CW was dropped. Jason, following up on his earlier comment, my advice to people joining clubs is be honest with yourself. If you do not feel comfortable, you know it is not the right thing. I'm looking forward to having meetings via Zoom as you live an hour away. Very good. I guess just having a look. And this is, and Leo's got it here too. Why I love CW and SSB more than FT8 because I don't need a PC for them. Exactly. I mean, some people love CW, some people love SSB. That's absolutely fine. Some people just don't like making contacts on the air, and that's fine as well. Use FT8, use a digital mode. It's completely fine as long as you get on the air and give it a go. So we're now coming up on the hour, and I'm not sure if that tapping in the background is T.O. being impatient, but or typing.
It's me typing in the chat.
Well, you've got a work meeting to get to, so I better let you go.
I do. My day is just getting started, and it's Friday.
And I literally just saw your message in the Toad's DMs, but in Discord DMs, and I didn't know what I was doing at the start of the show. So
now put that there for later.
Yeah. That's pretty much where we're at. Just to summarize up, have a go. Don't be too worried. And again, if you have any problems, then reach out to an Elmer, reach out to us, reach out to anybody. We'll give you a hand.
I'm here for you, man.
What's coming up on your channel, TO, Temporary Offline Ham Radio?
So not directly on my channel, but I am involved in it. Chuck KK6USY on KK6USY Ham Radio Adventures and myself are going to be doing a kind of a follow-up to this video tonight around 7 p.m. Central Time, where we are both going to get onto HF radios and demonstrate some QSOs back and forth so you can get a feel for how that sounds and how it works. And maybe if there's time, we'll get some extra QSOs in from viewers. But the main point of the show is to demonstrate a QSO from start to finish with both sides of the radio on stream at the same time. Then tomorrow morning, I have a retro computer video coming out on my channel at 8 a.m. Central. And then 10 a.m. we'll be doing coffee and ham radios somewhere on somebody's channel. I'm not sure whose it is. And then from there, it's anybody's guess. It's field day. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yep. Field day. I've got winter field day tomorrow, so that's going to be.
I've got summer field day tomorrow.
Yeah, no need to brag. I think I'll be going and doing a. I think I'm just going to be. We're actually using our new field day van, so I do want to go and do a video on that because I know a lot of people are very interested in our new field day van. So I'll go and do a video of that, give out some numbers, get some points. I've put a link to To's channel in the chat, so go and sub to To. You've just got past 3,000 subs, but we want to boost you up the ranks. You've got some awesome videos. I've also put a link there to that stream with on Chuck's channel, KK6USY, because that's going to be great. So go over and check that out. When was that? Was that this
7 p.m. Central this evening, Friday night, yep. 7 p.m. Central. So like Saturday morning for you.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, To. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat. We didn't get to dance too much, so we'll do a dance out and then we will end the stream. Thank you very much for watching. Well, I haven't started yet. Hold on.
I'm just excited.
Oh, and thank you, Mickey Ned, for subbing.
Thank you.